If you are following the news, not just here in Canada, but pretty much around the world, there is a fascinating story that has hit the news, which has some very serious implications for international law, international relations, international order, and whether or not assassination is okay. So what's happened? Well, there is an ex-Saudi intelligence officer named SaadAlJabri, who is currently living in Canada. He's been here for a while. He was a very senior member of the Saudi intelligence apparatus for many, many years. He was a counterterrorism officer. He's living in Canada now. This is where one of his sons is. His son is a doctor in the Toronto area. And it turns out that he is alleging in a lawsuit that he has filed in Washington that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, MBS as he's called, dispatched a, quote, hit squad to Canada in order to murder him. This was a couple of years ago. Al-Jabri is alleging that the reason why MBS would send a hit squad to kill him is because he possesses what he calls damning information about MBS. Now, MBS has become a bit of a rock star in the West in the past couple of years. He's the heir apparent. He will take over the throne when the latest geriatric Saudi king decides to die. He has made these bold statements about opening Saudi society, bringing rights to women, getting rid of some of the influence of the very conservative Islamic Wahhabi clerics, yada, yada, yada. And so he is now somebody who purports to be the great savior of Saudi Arabia, who will bring the country out of the 7th century into the 21st century. And now we have this allegation by Dr. Al-Jabri that MBS is trying to get him killed. What should we make of this? Well, a couple things. One, I know Dr. Al-Jabri. I met him several times in Riyadh when I was with the Canadian Security Intelligence Service on a visit to Saudi Arabia to attend counterterrorism conferences. I have a lot of time for him. I see him as an honest individual. I don't see why he'd be making this stuff up. Again, it hasn't been proven in court. It's simply a lawsuit. And the Saudis have interestingly said nothing, either yay or nay, on this particular allegation. And they deserve their day in court. That's the way things work in the Western world. Number two, I think that the Saudis have a track record in this regard. If you recall, back in October of 2018, a 15-member Saudi assassin team went to Turkey. They went to the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, and they murdered and dismembered, cut in pieces, that's what that means, Jamal Kashoggi, who was a Washington Post reporter who'd pissed off MBS and pissed off the Saudis. So it's not as if this would be a first for the Saudi government and a first for MBS. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, I have a source whom I deem to be reliable, who has told me point blank this was real. This is not some kind of a pie in the sky story. This actually happened. The Saudis did dispatch a team. It was interdicted by Canada Border Services Agency, CBSA, when they had suspicions as to who they were and what they were up to. And here's something I don't think has made the news just yet, my source also told me that perhaps the Saudi hit team, they called it a Tiger Squad or some stupid name like that, was actually going for a twofer. A 2-for-1. They were going to kill someone else in Canada who is a dissident of the regime. And now again, it's important to point out that this is all, speculation on my part, albeit I will go to the wall with my sources, and that nothing, in fact, has been proven in court. We have to wait and see. What does this mean? This is a holy shit moment for Canada. Now, Canada's relations with Saudi Arabia are not good. Former Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland a couple years ago called on the Saudis to stop beating up people and recognizing human rights, and that kind of put our relations with the Saudis in the shitter for a while, and things are not good. Canada has a fairly extensive defense relationship with Saudi Arabia. We recently had a $14 billion deal to sell them light armored vehicles, which are manufactured in my hometown, London, Ontario. I believe it's at the General Dynamics plant. So relations are very, very frosty, to say the least, and don't show a lot of signs of getting better anytime soon. And now we have this news that the Saudis were going to kill somebody on Canadian soil. Now, Dr. Al-Jabri is not a Canadian citizen. I don't know if his son is or not. I don't have that kind of information. But does it really matter? If he's a citizen, a permanent resident, a landed immigrant, a visitor, who cares? This is somebody on Canadian soil who was targeted for assassination and, by the way, probable dismemberment. Because 2 members of the alleged Tiger Squad were alleged to be forensic specialists. Now, why would you bring a forensic specialist to an assassination? Let me think. Maybe because you want to cut someone up. There were jokes going around, very poor jokes, but jokes nonetheless, in the wake of the Khashoggi assassination, in which MBS doesn't stand for Mohammed bin Salman, but Mr. Bonesaw, because that's what was used to saw up Khashoggi's remains. So what's Canada going to do? Great question. As I said, these are allegations in a lawsuit in a court of law in Washington. They have not been proven beyond that. But I gotta think that the Trudeau government cannot sit back and take this news and do squat, do diddly. Something has to be done. At a minimum, expelling Saudi diplomats, whomever is left here in the country. I certainly would be calling off any weapons shipments, any arms deals with the Saudi for now. And we got to start talking to our allies. If it happened in Turkey, which is kind of an ally these days, although under President Erdogan, I kind of doubt that some days. It happened in Turkey. It could have happened here. That means it could have happened somewhere else. There seems to be a pattern here where the Saudis like to send hit squads to eliminate people with whom they disagree, people they want to shut up permanently, dissidents, people who aren't drinking the MBS Kool-Aid. So do we talk to our NATO partners? Do we talk to the Americans? Well, that's a problem because Donald Trump seems to think that MBS's shit doesn't stink. Trump's a big MBS fan. We'll go figure. Trump's also an Erdogan fan and a Putin fan and a Xi Jinping fan. So I'm not sure I want to be in the Donald Trump fan club. But it seems to me that we don't have a choice here as Canadians. We have to actually do something and do something fairly concrete and do it fast. We cannot allow foreign states to send people to our country to assassinate anyone. Kudos to CBSA, Canada Border Services Agency, for stopping them. They could have gotten through, especially if, I don't know, were they on diplomatic passports? They could have been waved through customs. The next thing you know, we have a dead Dr. al-Jabri. I've also heard he's receiving protection as a sort of a specially protected person, which is great. Who knows if this is the only time the Saudis are going to try. Maybe having been caught once makes them, once caught, twice shy. I don't know. We'll see. But there has to be a response on the part of the Canadian government, and something serious. Will it come? I have no idea. Watch this space. There's been a lot of things the Trudeau government has done which are good. A lot of things I find very bad and very disappointing. So we'll have to wait and see on this one. Anyhow, I'm doing more and more interviews on this particular incident to share my views on what the Saudis are all up to. I've never been a fan of the Saudis, which is not to say I did not get along with certain Saudi officers that work in counterterrorism. I met a few in Riyadh. I've met a few here in Canada, and I think they're very good. They're very good people who have their country's interest in mind and are doing a very difficult job, which is counterterrorism in a part of the world which is a hellhole. Just look at the neighbors, Iran, Iraq, Syria, not a safe part of the world. And when you live in a country in which the very conservative Wahhabist interpretation of Islam is part of the genesis of Islamist extremism, going back 40, 50 years, you can see the challenges that they face. So I'm not going to label all Saudis and all Saudi officials and all Saudi government people and all Saudi counterterrorism officers as people with whom I wouldn't speak. Dr. al-Jabri is a good case in point. I would definitely spend time with him. But Canada simply cannot let this pass unspoken, unchallenged, and there has to be something that comes out from the government that sends that message. As I always say, watch this space. Who knows what's going to happen? That's my view on this allegation of a Saudi hit squad. What do you think? Should we trust the Saudis? Should we deal with them? Is it better the devil you know and the devil you don't? Are the Saudis the best part that we can find in an area of the world I've already called a hellhole? Let me know what you think.